Traditional accounts record that Hussein's birth was accompanied by prophetic foreknowledge regarding his fate. According to Bihar al-Anwar, when the Prophet Muhammad first visited the household of his daughter Fatima, following the birth of Hussain, he took the newborn in his arms, recited the call to prayer in his right ear, and held him close. Those present noted that the Prophet was visibly weeping during this interaction. This duality of immediate joy and anticipated tragedy marked the very beginning of Hussein's biography, establishing the perspective that his life would be bound to a demanding historical trial. In one account, the Prophet overheard the young Hussain crying as a child. He immediately turned to his daughter Fatima and stated, "Do you not know that his crying causes me distress?" The explicit details of the foreknowledge regarding Hussein's martyrdom are well documented by Salamah. While the Prophet was resting in her quarters, Jibril appeared to deliver a revelation. During this time, the young Hussain entered the room and playfully climbed onto his grandfather's back. The narration details that Jibril inquired if the Prophet loved the boy, to which he replied yes. Jibril then disclosed, "Verily, affection from your community will kill him after you." When the Prophet expressed astonishment that individuals claiming adherence to his message would commit such an act, the archangel confirmed and offered to provide a physical token of the location. Jibril subsequently produced a small sample of distinctive reddish soil from the region of Karbala, located near the Euphrates River. The Prophet wept upon receiving the sample and handed the soil to Salamah, instructing her to preserve it. He stated that when the sample of earth transformed into blood, it would serve as a sign that Hussain had been martyred. The weight of this knowledge extended into the post-prophetic era through documented dreams of the companions. Following the event of Karbala, reports in collections like the Musnad of Ahmad ibn Hanbal detail that Ibn Abbas witnessed the Prophet in a dream, appearing dust-covered and holding a vial intended to collect the blood of Hussain and his companions from the morning of the battle. In Islamic historical and theological discourse, the practice of mourning the martyrdom of Hussain ibn Ali is framed not merely as an emotional response, but as an act grounded in the legal precedent of Prophet Muhammad and the early companions. Proponents of this view argue that if human grief is natural and permissible over the loss of ordinary relatives, it becomes a priority when applied to the family of the Prophet himself. Western historians such as Edward Gibbons observed in his book, The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, that the tragic scene of the death of Hussain is bound to awaken the sympathy of even the coldest reader. From a theological perspective, weeping for Hussain is treated as a means of seeking proximity to the divine, as the tragedy of Karbala is tied to the historical sacrifices endured for the preservation of faith. Holy Quran explicitly validates weeping for legitimate spiritual reasons. In Surah Maryam, it says, "When the verses of the Most Gracious were recited unto them, they fell down prostrating and weeping." The primary justification for mourning within the traditional texts rests on multiple recorded instances when the Prophet wept for Hussain prior to the event of Karbala. Ali ibn Abi Talib details an interaction where he entered the Prophet's presence to find his eyes overflowing with tears. When Ali inquired if someone had caused him anger, the Prophet explained that Jibreel had just departed after informing him that Hussain would be killed by the banks of the Euphrates. A parallel account is documented by al-Fazl bin al-Haris, who recounted a vivid dream to the Prophet, wherein a piece of his body was severed and placed into her lap. The Prophet interpreted the dream positively, predicting that his daughter Fatima would give birth to a son who would be cared for by al-Fazl. Following Hussein's birth, she brought the infant to the Prophet. She noted that during the interaction, the Prophet's eyes began pouring tears. Salamah documented an instance where Hussain was sleeping on his stomach on the Prophet's chest while the Prophet was inspecting a sample of sand in his hand, weeping continuously. The Prophet confirmed to her that the sand was from the specific location where this community would eventually kill his grandson. Chroniclers record that when Ali ibn Abi Talib marched his army toward the Battle of Siffin, his route passed through the region of Karbala, lining up near the village of Ninawa along the Euphrates. Upon identifying the location by name, Ali stopped and wept extensively until the ground became wet. He then recounted his own recollection of entering Prophet's presence years ago, confirming that the Prophet had been shown the exact location of the future martyrdom by Jibreel. Classical historians such as al-Suyuti and Ibn Hajar compile reports from contemporaries of the event such as Nadra al-Azdiya, who stated that the atmosphere and specific environmental indicators such as the extraordinary redness of the sky at sunset were viewed by the community as visual signs of the mourning. Al-Suyuti's commentary records the historical view that the heavens did not manifest such specific redness for the death of anyone except John, the son of Zechariah, and Hussain ibn Ali. Furthermore, the early community documented testimonies regarding metaphysical expression of grief. Salamah explicitly reported hearing the audible mourning chants of the jinns following the news of the martyrdom. The Prophet wept before Karbala happened. Ali wept when he recognized the ground where it would. The Muslim community across centuries and across sects has never stopped weeping since. Although scholars debate the individual isnads, but the larger truth rests on the fact that the story survived, and by the real testimony that the tears to this date have still not dried.